We are now streaming on Twitch, and I'm going to look at the stream to see if we have audio on Twitch, because Twitch, yes, we do. Excellent. All right, Dementia Radio and recording.
Recorded live on DementiaRadio.org, it's the Funny Music Podcast, brought to you by FuMP.com, where you can download new free comedy songs twice a week. Now, here's your hosts, Devo Spice and the great Luke Ski.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 750 of the Funny Music Podcast for Thursday, October 31st, 2024. Yes, it is Halloween, and the title of this week's episode is Cute Cellar. And as you can probably guess, I'm the only one here, because everyone else is off doing Halloween things. We do have pre-recorded interviews with Steve Goodie, Eric Arnold, and the Consortium of Genius coming up later in the show, but for now, all you have is me.
Let's get caught up with what Devo and Luke have been up to since last week. Or else Devo, if Luke bailed and didn't show up.
Hey, what?
Oh, he's right.
So, what have I been up to since last week? Well, on Saturday night, I went into New York City to go to a film festival where a movie I was in was accepted, but it wasn't actually screened because my acting teacher who wrote and directed the film submitted it too late. But they liked it enough that they gave it an award. And with this particular festival, they won't mail you the award. Somebody has to be there in person to get it. Oh, Luke is joining us. Hey, Luke.
Hey.
I was just doing the catch-up thing, so let me finish, and then we'll turn it over to you.
Okay.
So I'm talking about the film festival I went to on Saturday. Yeah, the movie I'm in is called I Know It's Ben Crane, and it's a supernatural horror film, and it's doing quite well on the festival circuit. And so it won this award, Best Supernatural Film, at this festival. So I went into New York and went to the festival and accepted the award on my teacher's behalf. So that was fun. I got to see a whole bunch of really cool short horror films. If you ever get a chance to, if you're into horror, that is, and you ever get a chance to see a short called The Queue, Queue, definitely check that one out. It's really good. It's about a guy who gets hired to moderate content on some video platform similar to YouTube. And so he's going through watching the most horrific videos of people dying and getting tortured and stuff. And then he starts being haunted by the people who died in the videos and stuff. It's really good. I also posted the October episode of The Insider, which is an hour and 45 minutes long. So we're creeping in on bad report territory there. Maybe next year, maybe next month I can hit 2 hours. And I finally posted the teaser episode of Random Acts of Horror. If you look at our the Facebook group for Random Acts of Horror, it is up on Libsyn, but I haven't figured out how to get my custom URL yet, so hopefully I can do that tomorrow. Where else did I post it? It's on Libsyn. Oh, it's on Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/randomactsofhorror, it's a free post, so you don't have to sign up to see it. It's just the first 2 minutes where Tony selects the film that we are going to watch. And then I'm hoping to have episode 1 edited and released tomorrow or this weekend or something around there. Well, we'll see how it goes. Depends on how busy I am. But soon there will be podcasts. So, Luke, what have you been up to?
Well, at the immediate moment, as soon as I merge into this lane here, I am heading out to Disneyland.
Nice.
Because it's oh, that was my phone reminding me that it's time for the FuMPCast. So basically, originally Kalani and I were going to be going to Disneyland together, and and the fact that we were able to get reservations on Halloween was pretty cool. And so I ended up asking for the day off work and yada yada yada, just so that we could do this. So, unfortunately, and I'm sure you can relate to this, Devo, from your work positions of your whole professional life. One of their major projects was due, November 1st, because it's the end of the month or whatever the hell. And she had been trying to, work extra hours all week to make sure that she wouldn't have to concern herself so that she could, leave work early today and then still go to the park and meet up with me and, yada, yada, yada. But then, things were going sideways and stuff. So she basically ended up having to cancel out on going to Disney with me for the sake of making sure they got this project done. And I was originally thinking like, okay, well, I guess I can go by myself. That's what I did a couple of years ago when I dressed up as Barley from Onward. And in recent times, I actually finally got the correct color bodysuit and makeup for Barley. I was planning on doing that. But last night, I kind of, as ADHD tends to do, you might go a whole bunch of time like not feeling motivated to do anything, and then all of a sudden the motivation kicks in properly, due to the meds or whatever, and you just get a whole lot of shit done. So I basically stayed up really late last night, getting a whole lot of important things done, which basically made me like too tired to like get up early and get out to the park. And another thing about Disney, like back pre-pandemic, if you had an annual pass, you could just show up whenever you wanted to. And that was, great. But after the pandemic, they decided to implement this new system where you basically have to reserve the day ahead of time in order to be allowed to go into the park at all. I mean, this kind of counts for everybody, not just the people with the annual pass. But so, I guess it's their way to like deal with crowd control, and try to spread out people, so that, instead of having days that are like with too many people and then days with, less people, it's like if they, block out those days, at a certain point, then people will be like, oh, dang, I can't go those days. I guess I'll go on these other days or whatever. So anyway, the point is, like, if you make a reservation for a day and then don't show up, you pull a no-show, they keep track of that. And if you do too many no-shows, like if you do 3 no-shows, like in a span of 90 days, they'll like penalize you somehow. Like they won't let you make any more reservations, or whatever the hell. And, Kalani explained all that to me, and, I'm like, okay, I'll keep that in mind, because I was considering just not going to the park at all because she's not going to be there anyway. And I don't know. And then I said to myself, well, I could sleep until it's time for the FuMPCast and then hop on the FuMPCast, while I'm driving to the park, so that I can get to the park and just wander around a bit and, go to Star Trader, see what cool Star Wars stuff they may have, maybe do a ride or two. But, the overall point being, at least I got to the park and used my reservation so that I don't have it on my, on my record.
Yeah, it's not going to be on your permanent record at Disney.
Yeah. So yeah. Aside from that, I'm trying to remember the timing of things. Did I talk about going to the Lower Decks premiere last week? Or did I miss last week? I can't remember.
I think you did. Yes, because you talked about going to 2 premieres. Didn't you?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that, yeah, I did. Okay. So then, yeah, that was basically, I just spent the rest of the week, either working at my job or, working or trying to get other things done that are important, including Kalani's friend Ella has been helping me put together a couple of resumes for jobs that don't have anything to do with the animation industry. So that if I could basically start trying to find other work, because, with the situation going on at Ease, supposedly we're going to find out more news on November 15th. But nonetheless, for the immediate time being, I just have to kind of live my life, assuming that the company's shutting down, and that, I already bought my airfare to go home and see my family for Christmas. So I'm going to be out in Wisconsin from December 23rd to January 2nd. So I have to live my life assuming that when I come back on January 2nd, that the Ease job isn't going to exist anymore.
Yeah.
So I can file for unemployment if that is the case. But nonetheless, I still need to, figure out, all right, what's my next day job going to be? And as long as I'm put in the situation where I have to look for a day job, why don't we shoot for getting one that can actually cover my living expenses?
Yeah, wouldn't that be neat?
Yeah, so that I'm not sitting here, constantly having to freak out about whether or not I can actually get my rent bills paid. So yeah, obviously it's not ideal, but what else can I do? It's
yeah.
Nobody. Yeah. Anyway, so that's basically what I've been up to. Yeah. So we have 3 interviews this week.
We have 3 pre-recorded interviews this week. So going in the order they were posted, here is the new song by Steve Goodie, which originated as a dumb parody idea at FuMPFest. F, Trump, and Vance.
Man, November 5th needs to get here soon. I'm gonna have a stroke.
Everybody's talking about leftism, rightism, socialism, communism, Christian nationalism, and CRT, PEI, incels will up 45, and the high price of eggs, and the dehumanizing lie that immigrants are eating cats and dogs in Ohio. All we are saying, come on, is Trump and Vance. I'll take the prosecutor over the felon. All we are saying, what's the matter with you guys? Is Trump and Vance.
Yeah, peaceful transfer of power. Peaceful like a couple of hurricanes.
Everybody's talking about pandering, meandering, lots of gerrymandering, Aryans, authoritarians, swastika barbarians, love Putin, air polluting, freaking daily school shootings, and get revenge on anyone who's ever said a mean thing about 45 and making sure we never have to vote again, just like in North Korea. All we are saying, you're in a cult, is Trump and Vance. A career criminal, grab him by the feet. All we are saying,
He tried to have his own vice president killed.
is Trump and Vance.
I was told there would be no fact-checking.
All we are saying,
Look, Ma, I'm making french fries.
is Trump and Vance. Bodily autonomy? All we are saying, he's the father of IVF.
I've got grifters on my democracy! Oh, and Trump and Vance.
I am here with Steve Goodie. How you doing, Steve?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. So,
Good.
what are you saying? I'm not clear. What are you saying?
I'm saying FuMPFest needs to go on, or I will not write profane songs anymore. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Oh, and fuck Trump and fuck Vance. I am saying those things.
So yeah, this was
Clear.
this was a dumb parody idea that you entered into our little dumb parody ideas contest.
It came to me that day.
Oh,
As
this was
everybody
a
knows.
last minute thing.
As was the one last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, who has the time to sit around writing? Oh, wait, I do. But I didn't. I really did come up with this at the last. While other people were singing there, I was like, I should have something. I should do something. And then this popped into my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember last year you were gonna do the song
Yeah.
about Bert from Sesame Street, and I was like, yeah, Spaff already did that.
12 years ago. Thanks. Great. That's why this year I did not consult with you.
Yeah.
Because you ruined things.
Sorry. But yeah, and as is tradition,
Pretty sure a song about J.D. Vance has not been done 12 years ago.
It was not, no. But yeah, as is tradition, you did not win, so you decided it was a good idea, not a dumb idea, and you decided to finish it.
That's right. I was robbed. Yeah, I decided to finish it.
Okay.
One of these days, I'm going to get a spatula. Next year, or whenever you do this again, I'm going to bring my own gold. I'm going to bring my own spatula and painted gold on stage while the other person accepts the one that you guys are giving them.
You haven't won one?
Nope.
I thought you did it.
The only spatulas I have in my house are red and black.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's not, you really shouldn't cook with this spatula because it's been spray painted gold, but.
I get that. I don't want it for cooking because I have ones that are red and black.
Okay.
I'll save the one that if I ever win one, I will take it to Waffle House and show them and they will be impressed.
I'm sure they will, actually.
They will.
So yeah, we are very close to this being over, hopefully.
Yeah, or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just bad stuff happening.
And then more bad stuff.
Yeah. So, how you been?
I've been careful to pay my bills at my Edinburgh flat to make sure I have somewhere to go.
Good idea.
Thanks. Yeah.
You got room for one more?
Everybody says that. I'm going to make bunk beds. We're going to have, I think we'll sleep 9 people and we'll have 1 bathroom. And I see no problem.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Yeah. I've been in that situation before. It's fine.
Yeah. It's called camp. Although at camp, you just go pee in the woods. I don't know if that's an option here. It's probably an option.
I don't know. I'm also considering New Zealand because it's further away.
Place to go. Oh, man. Well, it is, and New Zealand is wonderful. And if you decide to go to New Zealand, all power to you, except that it'll be quite a commute for you for FuMPFest.
That's true, yeah. Well, we'll just have to have FuMPFest New Zealand. You guys will have to come to me. That's all. That's
fair enough. I'm
happen,
there.
So.
But in 2017, in an effort to get away from Trump the first time around, and only time around, I went around the world. I wound up in Australia to see if I could get away from it, and you can't. It's on every television, everywhere. So, I mean, go to New Zealand if you want, but it ain't going to serve the purpose you're thinking of.
I mean, there's no place I can go that'll get too far away from this thing happening. That's all the time.
He's ruining accordions and weirdness.
That's the only way I can watch him is with those superimposed accordions in his hands. With the people who did it.
I can't even do that.
It's the only way I can watch him.
If someone ought to do this. Probably someone has. I just haven't found it because it only occurred to me just now. Someone should read the transcript of whatever he's saying and overdub it with Gilbert Gottfried's voice, and then I would listen.
I'm sure Luke could do that.
Luke should do this.
Yeah.
Luke should do this. As I said it. Yeah.
Yeah. We could do that.
If only there were money in that. Luke would totally do that.
Yeah.
Not that he doesn't do things for free, but he needs a job, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, it might go viral and then we can make money somehow off of that, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how to make money on the internet. I've been trying it and nothing is working. So
if you can't do it, I totally can't do it. So I give up.
Yeah. So what else is going on with you?
I'm gonna turn 59 next Monday. Yay!
Ooh, happy birthday!
Thanks. And is now the tradition, I will be celebrating with my friends Bethany and Bill, my co-writers on the song that won the Logan Award this year, as well as a bunch of other songs.
Oh yeah, congratulations on that.
Thanks. I did win something. I don't want to sound completely ungrateful.
Yeah.
We go to the floating restaurant up there on the lake, where we went last year, and where both Dr. Demento and Weird Al sent me a happy birthday video saying, wow, you're on a floating restaurant. That's fantastic. So we're going to do it again this year, and we'll see what Barry and Al have to say about that. Assuming Sulu is there to record them saying things that they weren't planning on saying.
Yeah.
So that'd be fun. And my friend Linda, of course.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
What else is new around here?
We don't have floating restaurants in New Jersey. We should.
You have floating bodies. You should have floating restaurants.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. You'd think we would, but
yeah. It's funny. Al sounded so like you're in a floating restaurant. I want to go to a floating restaurant. Like it's that odd. Just find a marina anywhere where there's boats. There's probably a floating restaurant.
I don't know. there's my parents have a beach house in Connecticut, and there's marinas all over the place, and there are like restaurants by the shore. There's even a couple places. There's one place on Long Island where you can drive your boat up and park. And I mean, my parents don't have a boat, but you could do this if you have a boat, and park and eat at the restaurant that way. But I don't remember any of them being a floating restaurant.
Huh. Well, you just might not have noticed, but
maybe
I
not.
think
Yeah,
it's a fairly common thing. Just pontoons everywhere. If you see barrels under the restaurant, that means it's floating. Also, ducks.
I'll check next time
the restaurant.
Yeah, next time I'm at a restaurant, I'll look at the foundation and see if it's made up of pontoons. And
I think you have much to learn, young Tom. And I say young because you're way too young.
Yeah, not that much younger than you.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, all right. So do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Yes, November 12th here in Nashville, Tennessee, I will once again be doing Al, the Weird Tribute, and how Daniel Radcliffe got mixed up with this nonsense at Agave's Mexican restaurant. That's November 12th. We're calling it Taco and Accordion Tuesday because Taco Tuesday is great, but you had to add accordions if you really want to celebrate properly. 6 o'clock doors, 7 o'clock show, no cover. This may be one of the last times we do it without a cover. The restaurant is saying, why don't you charge a cover? And I said, because I thought it was nicer not to. And they said, you should charge a cover. So I might have to. So if you want to get tacos that are not free and a show that is free on Tuesday, November 12th, come to Nashville. And all this can be found at stevegoodie.com.
All right. Best of luck with it.
Thanks.
And we will catch you next time.
Alrighty.
See you on the other side.
Uh-huh.
Look at all the tasty people.
This is the FuMP.
Hannibal Lecter, he's eating liver, Chianti, some nice fava beans. This is his dream.
Me hate your cookies, stop freaking asking me. Me reject all your cookies, though you ask me constantly. Screw all your cookies, evil corporate entity. Oh, you and your cookies can all suck it. Hey, you know what?
It's got California class and Roddenberry style as we're cruising every prime timeline, light mile. But forget about the bridge and come on down, my friends, cause the lower decks is where the real action begins. And time again, the junior staff has always proven that they keep the ship afloat, cause lower decks keep it moving.
Lower decks, lower decks, lower decks.
Lower decks keep it moving.
Lower decks, lower decks.
That's the Funny Music Project at thefump.com. THEFUMP.com. Funny.
Time for funny music news. Something.
In the news, archive.org is still not allowing people to log in, so I'm still unable to upload episodes of this show. Hopefully they will have that resolved soon. In actual news, we have posted the video for Mic Stand by Worm Quartet. As we mentioned at FuMPFest, this was a live performance at the Bug Jar in Rochester, New York that we filmed and we uploaded via The Orchard, and they rejected it. We found out while we were at FuMPFest. So I have finally gotten around to posting it on our channel. If you go to youtube.com/funnymusicproject, same place you find the videos for this show, you will see the video of Worm Quartet performing Mic Stand. So go check that out. And one last reminder, today is Halloween, so there is a Halloween comedy songs playlist on Spotify. Just search for Halloween comedy songs and you should be able to find it. And the FuMP newsletter for October went out today. If you're not on our mailing list, go to tiny.cc/FuMP1024 for October 2024. Tiny.cc/FuMP1024. And actually, I still have to set that up, that shortened URL, so it's not going to work at the moment, but it will work soon.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I have a slight issue with the FuMP newsletter.
What's that?
And I guess I don't know who to direct this at. Probably Lee, because he's the one who puts them together. When it came to the part about FuMPFest listing off the winners of the video contest, he's like, here's the winners in ascending order, and then he lists the third place video, followed by the second place video, followed by the first place video. But next to them, they're labeled 1, 2, and 3. So it looks like the third place video has a 1 next to it.
You're right.
Second is 2, and the first place video has a 3 next to it. So it makes it look like the opposite order of prizes were given.
Yes, you're right. I'm looking
Why
at
would
it
you
now.
put numbers next? It's like you could have changed. It's like first, second, third. It's like, do that.
Yes, and I'm surprised I didn't catch that.
That makes no sense at all.
I know I proofread the newsletter, and I'm surprised I didn't catch that. So you can blame me for that, because I do edit this thing.
So justice for Chuck. Chuck came in first.
Yes.
God damn it.
Yes, Chuck's video for Jane Doe was the winner. Second place was Ian's video for Winter Sleigh Ride, and third place was Dee's video for 2 Trucks. Just for the record, so we're all clear here. All right. You got anything else before tour dates?
Episode 3 of Lower Decks is out. It's awesome.
Ooh, is it? Okay, cool.
It ties up a something that was kind of left unresolved from, like, I think dang near like a season ago. He just kind of forgot to follow up on something. And I guess at some point they were like, "Oh yeah, shit, we never resolved that thing. Let's probably resolve that in an episode somehow." But yeah, it's super fun and awesome.
All right, cool. Tour dates. On Sundays online, 2 Sleeps. Mondays online, Steve Goodie and Brad Tassel at virtualcomedyshow.com. Mondays and Tuesdays online, Bill Larkin. On the 1st in Santa Rosa, California, Phil Johnson and Roadside Attraction. On the 1st in Blue Bell, Pennsylvania, Carla Ulbrich. On the 2nd in Santa Cruz, California, Phil Johnson and Roadside Attraction. On the 5th in Mill Valley, California, Phil Johnson and Roadside Attraction. On the 8th in Redding, Connecticut, Carla Ulbrich. On the 9th in Casper, California, Phil Johnson and Roadside Attraction. And the 11th through the 18th in New Orleans, Louisiana, Ross Childs. And birthdays coming up on Monday the 4th, Steve Goodie. Happy birthday, Steve.
Steve.
All right, second song of the week is the new one by Burblesbelly that we had to sneak in so it would be up before Halloween. Here is I'm Not Denying That I'm Haunting Your House. I Just Want to Do It in Peace.
1, 2, 3, 4. The smudge stick you burned aggravated my sinus condition. Just because I turned on all those lights and your TVs as well. The seance you held got me queasy, so no apparition. The pumpkin spice candle you lit made me nauseous as hell. Your channeler gave me a headache with those incantations. I'm sorry I made all those noises and hid all your keys. The spirit could use a few stiff paranormal libations. If I get drunk enough, I might say hi, but no guarantees. I know you're not polterphobic. You just want this ghost crap to cease. I'm not denying that I'm haunting your house. I just wanna do it in peace. Your Ouija board didn't get you a netherworld answer. Don't think you can get me to talk just because I'm undead. You might have more luck with a more competent necromancer. Instead of a medium, spring for a large one instead. I know you're not anti-phantom, and it's not like my name's on the lease. I'm not denying that I'm haunting your house. I just wanna do it in peace. You might just try to see it my way. As ghoulies go, I'm not the worst. Before I hit that astral highway, I'd like to creep you out here first. We're separated by a huge metaphysical chasm. You're still flesh and blood, and I'm supernatural ooze. I live in a world of dark forces and dense ectoplasm. You live in a world of Rice Krispies and sensible shoes. I know you're still of the living, and I am lately deceased. I'm not denying that I'm haunting your house. I just wanna do it in peace. I know you're not polterphobic. You just want this ghost crap to cease. I'm not denying that I'm haunting your house. I just wanna do it in peace.
I'm here with Eric Arnold of Burblesbelly. How you doing, Eric?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
So I hear there's a ghost in your house.
Well, maybe there's some strange things that have happened. Do you want the quick little overview here?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so we bought a house on a little island north of Seattle called Whidbey Island in 2018, but we didn't move in right away. We were coming up on the weekends. There goes Burble. And we noticed kind of some strange things happening. We would come back on Friday evening, and there would be puddles like on countertops and stuff, not anywhere near sinks or anything. It seemed kind of odd. Lights that I was sure that I had turned off were on. So this was going on for, a few weeks, just little things like that. Then we met one of our neighbors. And she came over to introduce herself, and we showed her in. We'd been working on the house for a couple of weeks. This was maybe 2 months after we bought the house. We'd been up for, 6-8 weekends. And we're showing her around, and then I make a little joke to her about we think the place might be haunted. We've got these little things going on with the lights and a couple other little things. And she said, well, there is a story. So she proceeded to tell us the story. The house had been a rental house, and the guy who'd lived in it before we bought it was a friend of our neighbors. And it was a tragic story of a kind of a horrible dispute that happened between him and some other neighbors right across the street from us. The upshot was that one of the neighbors came over to what was then his rental house, what's now our house. They had a big argument in the living room, and then the neighbor beat up the renter who lived here, and so badly that the guy had to be taken to the hospital, and he died I think it was a couple months later from the injuries suffered from the beating. But he didn't die in the house. He died in the hospital. She gave me his name. I read his obituary and everything. It was just as she had said. And I'd mentioned to my wife a couple times that it felt like kind of an older guy, and he was an older guy, the presence that I was feeling. So we call whoever is here, if anybody is here, we call him Ronnie. Doesn't seem to be malicious in any way. Never anything more dramatic than, like I say, a lot of electronic stuff. We've had 4 different TVs plugged into 4 different outlets that turn on and off on their own. So we keep thinking, I don't know, maybe he likes or doesn't like television. I guess that's maybe the most dramatic stuff. A couple of other little things, but it's fun to imagine. Probably there are pretty rational explanations for everything that's gone on, but that's the story. So we actually did have some kind of really tragic event happen here in the house. But if there's anything left over, any energy left over, we think that's what it is.
So you turned this into this song.
So yes, and everything in the song is based on actual events. Like I say, turning on a lot of lights, um, little things like keys going missing. All of this could have a perfectly natural explanation, but I'm in my mid 60s, and I've never had anything like this happen before. And both my wife and I both kind of like, it's kind of strange that it does seem to happen a bit. And yeah, so I thought it sounded like it could be kind of a fun little song.
Yeah, it's cool that your song is about how it's not he's not trying to scare you. He's just there. He's just wants to haunt your house in peace. I love that idea.
Yeah, that was I thought, that's maybe exactly what's going on. Again, never sensed anything kind of really heavy or negative or anything going on here. But maybe if I wind up a ghost someday, and what does a ghost do? Well, I guess a ghost haunts, and everybody wants to just do what they do in peace. So,
And apparently pees on your countertops or something. I'm not sure
well,
what's happening there.
when that was happening, I actually looked it up, and that's apparently some kind of sign of some sort of, apparition or something, that little puddles of water wind up here and there. I mean, it was very, very strange. We really scratched our head on that one. Like, well, maybe we spilled a glass of water. It was different countertops. I don't know.
I've never heard that one. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I haven't done a ton of research or anything, but I did look up. I did do a little research on puddles of water, and I did discover a couple of websites that said, that might be a sign of this or that, but nothing too dramatic. Maybe nothing terribly, terribly dramatic. Yeah.
You didn't have like your washing machine fly across the living room or anything like that, right?
No, nothing like that. In fact, I'm every now and again I'll get talking to Ronnie, just like, hey, Ronnie, come on, let me know you're here. It's cool. You're welcome to be here. The only thing that actually crossed a kind of line into sort of poltergeisty area was when I was playing with my two cats, Burble and Lenny. And they were playing in one of those tubes that you run through, the cats run through, and I think the cats like the noise as well. So they're running in and out of the tube, and the tube's, it's making all this noise. They run in and out, and they're both now on one side. I'm looking at them, my back's to the tube, and they're both on the other side of the room, and I'm playing with them. And then the tube just makes that sound again, big as like something had just run through it. I'm looking at my two cats there. And that was maybe the most poltergeisty kind of thing that ever happened. I don't know. Maybe it was a gust of wind. I don't know. Yeah,
that's cool. I'm picturing the ghost trying to get through the tube.
Maybe you should play along. It was a fun day. He was maybe he's a cat or two. Burble's wrecking everything in the room. Is it? There it goes. That's definitely not poltergeist. That's definitely my cats. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's the origin of the song.
That's cool. Yeah, it's a great song, and it's perfect for Halloween. I'm glad we were able to squeeze it in.
Well, thank you. That's very, very nice of you. Yeah, I just I wrote it, well, maybe about a month and a half ago, and I thought it might be pretty good for Halloween. So, excellent. Thank you so much for fitting it in.
Yeah, I'm always looking for new songs to add to. We have a Halloween playlist on Spotify, and we have a Christmas playlist on Spotify. So I'm always looking for new songs to add to it. So once this goes up on Spotify, I'll add it to the list. So it won't be there in time for Halloween this year, but for next year.
For next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's very, very nice. Again, it's always nice to be featured at all on the FuMP, but I was glad that you were able to get it in. Like I say, I'd written it. I'd actually written it. My wife and I have a little act that we take to a couple of retirement homes on the island here, and we were doing a couple Halloween shows, and we had the standard Monster Mash and standard list of about 5 or 6 tunes, and I thought, it's a little light, so I thought I'll write a Halloween song. And then I thought, well, we've got a little Halloween thing happening right here in the house, so that's the origin of that.
Did you perform this at the at the retirement homes?
We did, yeah. We've and tell a little bit of the story, and people seem to like it. We've got a couple Halloween songs that I wrote. One specific for Whidbey Island called "It's a Whidbey Halloween," and then this one a little more general. And yeah, the folks seem to like it. Yeah, so
cool.
We have a good time. Yeah,
great.
It's well, a couple of retirees. The high point of our week is when we can go and, play an hour of music for these folks. Yeah.
No, sounds like fun.
Yeah, it really is.
Cool. So do you have anything you'd like to plug?
It's the same thing. I'm the most boring guy in the world. I'm just chipping away at my my website. So go to YouTube. I'm the only Burblesbelly on YouTube. So if you want to check out some of my other tunes, Burblesbelly on YouTube. And except for, again, a little bit of performing here and there, I'm mostly just writing and taking care of cats and doing we've just finished a big remodel. So I'm doing some kind of getting things sorted back here into the big house. And, but that's it. So nothing too exciting. Like, so many of your guests are doing albums and dropping songs and everything. And no, I'm just plugging away, but having fun.
Yep. You're not the only one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, Tom. Again, thank you so much. Again, really, really sincerely appreciate your slipping it in there for Halloween. I hope folks enjoy it. Go check out Burblesbelly on YouTube. I've got all sorts of fun stuff out there, and I'm sure we'll be talking again.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Eric.
Okay. Thanks, Tom.
Making the internet absolutely ridiculous. Dementia Radio.
www.dementiaradio.org. Port 8027.
Please hang up and try again.
Okay, before we get to feedback, I need to talk about this newsletter. So, for those who don't know, programming HTML newsletters is a pain in the ass. HTML emails, I mean, not necessarily newsletters, but programming HTML emails by hand is a pain in the ass. And the reason is that specifically Outlook Express and the other Microsoft-based email clients that like 90% of the planet uses a like 20-year-old HTML renderer that was originally part of Microsoft Word. And you have to program it the old way using tables, and you have to do inline styles, and there's all sorts of hoops you have to jump through to get it to look how you want it to look. So we don't code the HTML directly, other than a couple of little, fill-in things. So we use a MailChimp's WYSIWYG editor. So I don't know how Lee put together that list of the winning numbers, but I can tell you, if you click on the view in web browser, which pulls up the web version, the numbers are correct. It says 3 is D, 2 is E, and 1 is Chuck. In the email, they're wrong. So it's the same code. This is what we deal with as web developers trying to code emails. And I've never run into this particular problem before, but this is amusing. So we're going to have to look into how he coded this and figure out what, yeah. So good times.
That is fucking bananas. That is bananas. That makes no sense.
No, it does not. Welcome to the world of HTML emails. There's a thing to tell you how stupid this is. There's say you want a horizontal line with a graphic in it that has like some pattern or something in it. So you make the graphic and it's 5 pixels tall. Well, Microsoft doesn't allow you to have anything less than 10 pixels tall unless you override it with a specific style called MSO line height rule exactly. Because the default is apparently MSO line height rule however the fuck Microsoft wants it to display. Like, it always pissed me off that I'm like, I define the table cell as 5 pixels high. I style the table cell to be 5 pixels high. And Microsoft says, no, it's going to be 10. I want it to be 10. It's going to be 10. It's just, ugh. I don't miss doing HTML emails. It's pain in the ass.
You could write a Halloween song called HTM Hell.
Yeah, we could. All right, so we do have some feedback. So
this is the part where there's feedback. Feedback. You know that segment of the show we do about now? Feedback.
Dead by 28 wrote, "Hey Devo, here's how I remember it going down in regards to Dead by 28 first getting in contact with Two Sleeps. I reached out to you to thank the FuMP for adding Whippets to the FuMP promo ads. You told me that Mike from Two Sleeps was making them for the FuMP, so I contacted Mike to thank him for doing that. Once we got it to chatting, a collab idea came together quickly. The first song he added guitar to came out awesome. Mike was aware that Sissy's recording studio has been out of commission and offered to help with guitar on some other songs. We spoke with Sissy about it and then accepted Mike's offer. He's been doing an amazing job, and we look forward to showing off all the songs when they're finished." It's Keymaster from Dead by 28. Thank you, Keymaster. And that's all the feedback we got. So, we have a third song this week. It is the latest one by the Consortium of Genius. Here is Morgus the Magnificent.
One Saturday night when I go for my date, my baby and I just sit and wait for
Morgus the Magnificent.
We don't go out to roll and rock. We get our kicks from the house and shot. He's got shaggy hair and a graveyard stare. Vampire blood spill everywhere. That's
Morgus the Magnificent.
We don't go out to roll and rock. We get our kicks from the house and shot. So if you want a thrill, you turn your lights down low. Get set for the ghoul who will steal the show. That's
Morgus the Magnificent.
We don't go out to roll and rock. We get our kicks from the house and shot.
This is Dr. Gangrene coming to you here from Shackle Island to say thank you to Dr. Momus Alexander Morgus for being a true inspiration all these years, for being a true friend of science and member of the higher order.
Hello, this is Dr. Sarcophagi with the Fright Gallery, and I'm thanking you, Dr. Morgus, for being such an inspiration and expressing the hope that one day you'll return, because we need more of your brilliance in this messed up world.
We don't go out to roll and rock. We get our kicks from the house and shop. So if you want a thrill, you turn your lights down low. Get set for the ghoul who will steal the show. That's
Morgus the Magnificent.
We don't go out to roll and rock. We get our kicks from the house and shop.
This is Penny Dreadful from Haunted New England. Dr. Morgus, you are a great inspiration, and I hope you'll return to us one day soon.
Greetings, I am the Count Goodie, here to pay tribute to the man who brought his viewers monumentally monstrous movies. The marvelous Morgus the Magnificent.
Greetings, net creatures. Professor Anton Griffin here, host of the Midnight Theater in Austin, Texas. I will always be thankful for the great one, Morgus the Magnificent, for inducting me into the higher order.
I'm Baron Mondo Von Doren, here as always with my manservant, El Sapo de Tempesto from Nightmare Theater.
Hey boss, do you have any heroes?
It'd certainly be Dr. Morgus, the Magnificent from over there in New Orleans at the Old City Ice House. We could certainly use a mad scientist like him again to help get this world back in shape.
Hey, this is Sally the Zombie Cheerleader from Sally the Zombie Cheerleader School of Horror, and I want to thank Dr. Morgus for inspiring this zombie. And please come back. We need you more than ever now.
This is Alma Fetish, Morgus's landlady. And I know y'all want him to come back because he's been such a big inspiration to you. And you know what? I want him to come back too. You know why? He owes me over 3 months back rent.
I am here with Lewis Dobbin and Jim Fairchild of the Consortium of Genius. How you doing, fellas?
Hey, what's up?
Hello.
And I think this is the first time on this show we're interviewing you out of character, so this will be fun.
No, it's the second time, right?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it's the second. It's the second time at least.
Oh, okay. All right. I know because we interviewed you at FuMPCast out of character. Yeah.
Right. Everybody got to meet us.
Yeah.
Non-evil us.
That was fun. So tell us about Morgus the Magnificent.
That was really fun. Let's do it again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so tell us about Morgus the Magnificent.
Okay. Wow. So this is it's kind of a pretty regional reference because he never got really the play that Elvira got, but Morgus was a huge influence on this band, and of course an influence on me and my broadcast aspirations in the 80s. Morgus got started way earlier than that. He was one of the first horror hosts with the Shock television package that was syndicated in the 50s. And he got on the air in January of 1959 and had several different generations. Yeah, he was a long timer. So he was like in with the original group of people, including Vampira, that got stuff on the air, as wraparounds for the movies that they were including in the Shock package, which was a television syndication package that was trotted out to all the different local stations. And, each one of them would hire somebody or put a strange wig on the weatherman, push him in front of the camera and get him to waste time in between commercials. And so, in our town, it was an actor called Sid Noel, who was a radio disc jockey, and he was doing this on TV and didn't actually tell anybody that it was him. It was a secret alter ego of his.
Oh, cool.
And
he eventually went to Detroit.
Right. Yeah. He had a storied career, including getting run out of town at one point, going to Detroit, sitting up there for a year, and doing the exact same thing, the exact same character.
Many of the same shows, except for with a slightly different character.
Right. Yeah, they used
a robot instead.
Right, they used a different assistant. Like he didn't have the same lab assistant as he had in New Orleans, but basically did the same act for a year, and actually made a lot of fans and followers up there, and a couple of influential people got to see him and were influenced by Morgus the Magnificent up in Detroit.
In fact, I remember one time about a couple of decades ago, George Adori had him on Coast to Coast.
Yeah,
because he was a big fan of him from the Detroit era.
Yeah, just 1 year in Detroit influenced all kinds of people. For instance, like Professor Farnsworth on Futurama, if you listen to his voice, it's very similar. And it turns out that actor was in Detroit growing up and saw that.
Okay.
So anyway, he came back to New Orleans, got back on the air here. This lasted all the way up until like 1970 or so, where they were out of ideas and they were sticking him on in between commercials and Star Trek episodes. At this point, horror movies were kind of on the wane. And so he retired at that point and, went back to all the different things he was doing in his normal life, and then got called back onto television in the late 80s. And that's where we saw him, my generation growing up in the late 80s. I'm 56, so I was in college at the time, but people all the way from grammar school to high school to college and beyond were all watching this. It was very popular for a couple of years between 87 and 89.
And this was a lot of the same stuff that he had done previously.
Right.
He just perfected it with better video techniques at the time.
Yeah. But he got a lot of his old crew back. Almost everybody that was doing it with him from the 60s came back and helped him film these new ones in the 80s. And They made a syndicated package of 52 episodes, and we're trying to get it on around the country, but everybody was kind of focused on Elvira, on Cassandra Peterson at that point.
Yeah.
For a couple of good reasons.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Morgus once again kind of slipped into the history of New Orleans and would make occasional appearances here and there too. He never let it go completely. And of course, with Cog, turn off that air conditioner. I started working with him when he got his show back on the air on a Cox Cable, which the office of which happens to be right across from my work. And so I got to meet the man and got to be friends with him and actually work with him now in restoring the old episodes. He passed away a couple of years ago in 2020. But, I'm still working with his family and trying to keep it alive. And so, at this point now, there's still a Halloween party at the TV station at WYES TV. They still show the episodes every year. And, it gets a burst of enthusiasm every year around this time.
Yeah, so last year we picked up this song to play at the Morgus Halloween party for WYS, which is our local public broadcasting.
Right.
And they loved it, and we enjoyed playing it, so we decided to record it, and
here we are.
Here it is.
Yeah.
That's
with
great.
the added injection of some of my other favorite horror hosts, I'm in contact with at least like 10 of these guys all around the country. And a lot of them have participated on Escape from the Lab as cameo appearances. And so, it wasn't really a whole lot of imagination required when I got this song, kind of in the finishing stages. And I was thinking, what else could we do to really punch this up? And
stick those guys in there.
And I started calling them up and saying, would you like to participate on a tribute to Morgus? And they're all like, oh yeah, we're honored. We know who Morgus is.
So all the cameos in there are current horror hosts, plus a cameo by one of the last surviving members of the cast.
Right
at the very end.
Yeah, the lady at the end playing the landlady actually was Morgus's landlady on the show, and she's getting up in years, but she was very enthusiastic and just dove right back in.
That's great. Yeah, I've never heard of Morgus the Magnificent. I grew up in Connecticut. We did have Elvira, and I think we had early years before we had Zachary. My father watched a lot of Zachary. And
oh yeah.
Yeah, so my father has a Zachary autograph hanging in the basement. I think you met. I forgot where we met him, but yeah, he was cool. And I never watched a lot of these, despite I love horror movies. I've never watched a lot of the hosted stuff. I don't know whether it was just because it wasn't on or whether it wasn't my thing. I remember watching a couple episodes of Elvira's show, mostly when we were visiting my grandmother for some reason. I just happened to be on or something. But so I've never heard of Morgus the Magnificent, but I'm definitely interested in checking out some of this stuff. I've heard of a couple of these other hosts you've got going on here just from seeing them at conventions, and Dr. Sarcophagi actually has a song on the FuMP, so we've met him. I think I've met Count Gore Duvall from
not only
somewhere.
that, he was on our previous single, Lobsterzilla versus what was it, Ultragator. In the spring. I had him participate on that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, he and I got to be friends. But I think there's a little crossover here,
Yeah.
Horror hosts seem to be very creative and cool and sideways thinking type of individuals, and
they fit right in with us.
They definitely fit right in
yeah,
with the pod.
I think you kind of have to be a little askew to want to do this, and I love it.
Yeah. I think it definitely works with this audience, even though it's more situational comedy than outright, joke telling in a song. But one thing I will say about Morgus, unlike a lot of the other ones, the stuff that Morgus filmed can actually work as a sitcom it's not really reliant upon the movie. Like you can actually, in
Oh,
fact, he
interesting.
actually syndicated the episodes as a 30-minute like cut down.
Right, which is what that Cox version was.
Yeah,
in
that they put on
early
a couple of
2000s.
years ago, right? Yeah, you can actually sit and watch his episodes as a self-contained mad science sitcom without needing to watch the movie, which is, I think, completely different from what all the rest of the horror hosts are doing.
Because he doesn't ever really reference the movies. It's just you come out of the movie and you're seeing the next part of this
Experiment
story.
Yeah, the experiment, whatever experiment he's doing, you know, be it weight loss or shooting himself into space, or, you know, it's all very silly, low budget video production, but it's very imaginative and
it is pretty funny.
Yeah.
You know, it's just very enjoyable all by itself.
Yeah, and he had a great grasp of his character to the point where there wasn't really much of a script. He kind of freestyled the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
Based on what he, you know, had assembled as an outline in his mind. And so
even when he reproduced the episodes from the 60s in the 80s, he was just pulling those scripts from his head.
That's true.
And telling people what to do.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was amazing. I mean, he just pulled that out. You can go back and look at the different ones in there.
Yeah, that's true. And they're exactly the same because he had a photographic memory. So yeah, remarkable man. And he actually wasn't a real inventor too. Yeah.
In fact, in the arcades, he had this thing that you would put a quarter in and it would tell you a story. You know,
yeah, that's right. In the early 70s, he invented something he called a story castle, which was this big fiberglass castle.
There were in arcades all around the country.
Glittering, you know, coating on it. And it said, you know, deposit coin and pick up the receiver. There was a phone receiver and you'd put a coin in and he would tell you a story. And as a kid, I felt like this was a real cheat of my quarter, but I could see what he was trying to get at. It was cool looking, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. It was kind of neat, but you know, we wanted to spend our money on games we could play.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. Pinball machines. Come on.
Right.
So how big of an influence was he on your characters?
Oh, huge.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that we had like a mad science comedy that we were all faithfully watching in the 80s. And not only that, he did live shows too, which I attended one of them. You know, he did an actual live television broadcast Halloween 87 at the Rivergate, which was a giant convention center in downtown. And they transposed the entire set of the show over to a stage at the convention center, set up 4 cameras, and taped the whole show in front of an audience of like, 2,000, 3,000 people. So it was amazing.
Yeah, it's like in town in New Orleans, well, you know, when we try and explain what we do, like Morgus. Yes, like
Morgus. That's the touchstone. Everybody thinks.
Yeah, we're mad scientists trying to take over the world. Oh, like Morgus. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, although he wasn't really. See, we're doing a slightly different angle on it. You know, like we're overtly evil. He was actually trying to help people, but generally everything would backfire on him. It was always backfiring on him.
When we did our cable access show, we had Morgus on one episode,
right?
And so he was like the hero to our antagonist. So you know, he comes in to try and save the day and
blows up Pinkerton's brain.
Like Pinkerton's brain goes kersplat all over the ceiling.
And of course, while he was alive, he also got to participate on a couple of songs like Science Fight, and he participated on The Internet Is Mine. And I think possibly one other one. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, he was up for a little collaboration here and there, even though he wasn't on TV anymore.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you guys got to work with him.
Yeah.
Really good guy.
Yeah, really, really cool.
And toward the end of his life, he did a one-man show where he basically stood up as himself and explained everything to a packed audience, at a theater, and it was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, he basically laid out his entire career. He had never actually done that, you know. He had never gone out of character in front of his audience. And like right before he died, he did that.
No, that's awesome. I'm gonna have to look up some of his videos.
Yeah, a bunch of them are up on YouTube. Really shoddy VHS captures, but you could kind of watch those and see what he was about. It was like it kind of appealed to me in the same way that Doctor Who did back in the 80s, back when it was a shoestring production.
Yeah.
It was kind of like telling me, you could be doing this. It doesn't take a whole lot of technical expertise or money or anything like that. You just need a bunch of imagination and a couple of cameras, and you can do anything.
And it's okay if it looks a little cheesy.
Yeah.
People will forgive that.
No, as long as your character is strong, you can do whatever you need to do and entertain people. And that's a lot of that has informed what we're doing with COG.
Yeah, because we actually aspire to be that cheesy.
Yep. So yeah, cheesier the better.
I love that cheesy look. I really do.
Yeah, you probably came up watching the Tom Baker episodes.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So like imagination is more powerful than budget.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you've got something really crazy going on screen that you'd never see anywhere else. And and then
later when they started finally
powerful.
running the first 3 Doctors and I got to see those, I was like, wow. There's one, I think it's a second Doctor Dalek episode where this Dalek goes, out of control down a ramp and falls off a cliff. And you can tell the Dalek is a model that's about 2 inches tall and just going down, it just kind of plops down, but who cares? It's great,
Right. And the other one that pops to mind is the one where a steady stream of Daleks are cruising around a corner, and the implication is that they're manufacturing, endless Daleks, and it's basically like 3 of them going around,
just going in a circle.
I love that. And even as a kid, you can kind of figure out what's going on, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But awesome at the same time.
Yeah. So yeah, this song is a very fitting tribute. So very much enjoyable.
And this song was originally written by
Dr. John.
Dr. John,
yeah,
famous New Orleans,
one of our big entertainers who just passed away a couple of years ago. Dr. John and Frankie Ford, who also had a big hit back in the 50s. And so, but they were in disguise too. And the funny thing is that this was actually not the record that they wrote and put out was not authorized by the TV station that had Morgus or the producers of Morgus or any of that. They were really kind of trying to glom onto the popularity.
Yeah.
And hoping to get their song as a theme song for the show.
Perhaps, yeah.
It seems like it. I mean,
it really does.
The way the song's written, it sems like they want it to be a theme song.
Yeah, it really kind of functioned as a theme song, but
it didn't work out.
No, the official theme to Morgus was always just like a theremin. It was just spooky mad science noises.
Morgus the Magnificent presents.
Yeah,
awesome.
and then the talking skull, his talking skull Eric saying Morgus the Magnificent, and that's what you hear in the recording.
Oh, okay. I was wondering who Eric was in the credits here.
Yeah, Eric is in the version that we saw, Eric is a skull of one of his previous lab assistants that somehow still has a brain, and so he has it lashed up on top of a computer, and it's accessing some primitive form of the internet. And remember, this is like 1987.
Yeah.
And so the skull contains all knowledge, and he frequently consults with it, but it only ever answers him, yes, master, or no, master. So it's of limited use, except as a yes man.
Yeah, it's more like a magic 8-ball.
Yeah.
But he's a very fun character. Anyway.
Yeah. So there's only 3 main characters in the show, and that's Morgus, his mute assistant Chopsley, who's this big hulking executioner that never says anything, and the skull Eric. And occasionally you'll see his manager, and occasionally you'll see his landlady, who appears at the end of our song.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to checking this stuff out.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. I know it doesn't make a lick of sense from our explanation. You can only watch it and try to make sense out of it yourself.
but also, if you've ever seen COG live, you see Dr. Pinkerton with his little setup with his theremin and stuff, and he's got some glassware on that. That's all from the Morgus set.
That's true. A lot of the chemistry stuff that we have around is actually directly from the Morgus set.
Oh, cool.
So, being friends with the director and with the actor that played Morgus, I was able to get a hold of a lot of the old props and stuff, and we've tried to incorporate them into our productions
and keep it alive as much as we can. We'll bring that stuff out when we do the Morgus party and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. No, that's awesome. All right. So do you guys have anything you'd like to plug?
Gosh, we have
That's
really,
all?
that's about it. We have nothing coming up that I know of.
Yeah, you just finished your tour, so all the shows are done.
Yeah, and it was great fun. It was really fun seeing everybody too. We never get to go out on tour unless we're given an excuse, and this was a hell of an
perfect excuse. Yes.
Yeah. We do play Houston every year, the Expo, and we project that's going to be that's going to be November next year.
Yes.
So anybody in the Houston area needs to come out and see us. And we will be playing the Morgus party again next October in New Orleans. But beyond that, I have no idea what we're doing.
Whenever somebody calls and books us, we'll be there.
Yep.
All right. Sounds like a plan. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And we will catch you next time.
See ya. Bye. Have fun.
Teasing. He's a teasing kind of guy. Now you have a job.
Yeah. Teasing. Tomorrow's song is by Robert Lund. And
Robert Lund? As in the famous Robert Lund? Oh my gosh.
And it's not a song written by Spaff. It's a song written by Robert Lund. And Tuesday's song is by Kerplunk. And I need a Spotify playlist topic for tomorrow. How about Disney? Have we done Disney in a while? I'll do Disney. We got plenty of Disney songs. All right.
Something I meant to say earlier. It's like it always kind of feels a little like the passing of the seasons. I'm like, oh, the new FuMP promo is here. It's like by the time we finally get to, when the new FuMP promo arrives, it's just like, oh, good. I'm so good. I was getting sick of that one. I've heard it now for at least 2 months.
Yeah,
it's like I'm so happy that.
Yeah. All right. Steve Goodie is at stevegoodie.com. Burblesbelly is on YouTube, and the Consortium of Genius are at consortiumofgenius.com. And I think that's a show. Let's get out of here. Thank you for listening to the Funny Music Podcast. I'm Devo Spice.
I'm Luke Ski, and then there were other people, but they were all pre-recorded.
Thank you for listening to the Funny Music Podcast. You can listen live every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific at DementiaRadio.org and join us in the chat. Or subscribe to the podcast feed. Look us up on iTunes and be sure to leave us a review. Feedback for the show can be sent to info@thefump.com. The Funny Music Podcast is a production of Fidem Interactive, LLC, released under a Creative Commons share-alike license. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Shout it to random people on the street. And be sure to visit thefump.com for the latest funny songs. Tune in next week where you'll hear Luke Ski say,
just grab them by the pussy, because when you're famous, they let you.